Welcome to the Power Brokers Podcast. I'm your host, Joe Santini. Find us wherever you get your podcast, and you can also catch the video version on YouTube. Today, we have with us Jason Gruner, top producing real estate agent with Caldwell Banker Southern Realty in Nashville, Tennessee. He has over 20 years experience and is ranked as one of the top 25 agents in Nashville by Real Trends. He is an expert in marketing and gets top prices for his listings and specializes in finding buyers off-market properties. Hey, Jason, how are you today?
Hey, Joe, I'm doing great. I appreciate you having me on.
Absolutely. And, listen, everybody's kind of infatuated with Nashville. There's so much going on down there. How did you get your start in real estate?
Yeah, it's a great town. It's been a lot of fun to work here the last few years. I actually got into real estate in 2004, right after college. I was doing real estate appraisal during college, and I met a land developer. So I moved to Eastern North Carolina and sold waterfront land for a handful of years from '04 to '07. And then as the market shifted, I transitioned into traditional brokerage. I've always gravitated towards working with investor clients, developers, and builders, helping them find projects, helping them find infill lots to do, which is where my business has gone here in Nashville. I got serious about growing my business in Nashville about 3 years ago. We moved back here about 9 years ago and have really focused on it the last three to kind of get to where I am today.
Oh, that's awesome. That's so you got a lot of experience. You're dealing with all different kinds of people. So in Nashville, where are your buyers coming from? Like, are they coming from the Northeast, or who buys a home in Nashville?
Sure, we see a good mix. I typically focus on new construction in the luxury space, which in our market's about 1.5 million plus from there. What we see is a lot of in-town folks that are actually downsizing. I know it's kind of crazy. They're downsizing into 4 to 5,000 square feet from a big house south of town that they lived in, raised their families in, and just want to move to something closer to town, a little bit more active, but still have room for when family comes in. From other markets, we saw a ton of California influx during COVID. Still see a little bit of it now, but it's not nearly what it was. And we see a lot of traditional moves out of Chicago, Atlanta, and Charlotte of folks moving here.
Yeah, that makes sense. And is there are people there like part-time, or is it more just a full-time place?
It's typically full-time residency. We'll get some half-time folks that do half here and half in Florida. But for the majority of it, I'd say 90% of the homes I've sold the last 3 years have been full-time residents here in Nashville.
Yeah, makes sense. And, the market is so different now. It's changed dramatically. So what are the current market conditions in Nashville right now? Is it a seller's market, buyer's market?
I mean, technically, we're still probably a balanced market at about probably 4.5 months of inventory across the range. Probably slightly north of that in the luxury space, over that $1.5 million mark. We haven't seen pricing peel back yet. So we haven't really come back up over that peak on the luxury space in terms of pricing. However, we are seeing longer days on market, and the number of transactions is down significantly, kind of probably the last 18 to 24 months. Just the annual number of transactions in Nashville is certainly down from where we were.
Yeah, definitely similar here, in Florida. And, when you look at the towns in Nashville and then there's towns close to you, like Franklin, is that like the like most expensive town to live in Nashville?
Yeah, of the suburbs, kind of out, Davidson County is the county in which Nashville is in. There's some pockets of Davidson which the average price of the home would be a little bit higher than Franklin, but Franklin and Brentwood, both south of town, are really popular suburbs that command strong pricing. So anything outside of Nashville, Franklin and Brentwood would be one and two for sure in terms of price point.
And how far from Nashville are they?
I mean, again, just depending on what part from downtown where the convention center is. Franklin's maybe 25, 30 minutes, depending where you're going, and Brentwood's about 5 minutes north of that.
Got it. So I understand the attraction then, for sure. So listen, if I said, hey, listen, I'm going to move from Florida to Nashville and I want to live close to the action, what's like the entry level single family home? Where does it start?
That's such a tricky question. We actually just had a broker in our firm move here from California and literally ask the exact same question. I think to get something where you're going to feel comfortable, if you like nice things, you're starting $1.3 million to $1.5 million for something kind of in a Green Hills, a 12 South, maybe something over in Wedgwood, Houston. It's close to everything. You're gonna, but that's for a really nice house. It's not a project. It's not going to be value add, something you have to go in and rehab and start, just do a huge construction project on, kind of turnkey. I'd say you could start at that 1.3 to 1.5 number would be a safe place to start.
Gotcha. So if somebody's looking for a cheaper home, how far out of Nashville do they have to go? Is it a
I mean,
distance?
there's pockets of Nashville where you can find some cheaper stuff. Certainly over in East, there's still some good value available. I mean, again, it's all relative. I mean, it's 600 to 800. You could find some decent stuff over in East. If you go about 25 to 30 minutes east or north, I can find some really good values in places like Mount Juliet or Gallatin or Hendersonville. But again, you're probably 30 to 45 minutes, just depending on exactly where you land. And then unfortunately, what the traffic is like that time of day.
Yeah, it makes sense. Well, I'll tell you, it's much more expensive than I thought. I thought your numbers were going to be lower, but listen, there's a premium for nice places to live, and we see that here in Florida, and Nashville is just off the charts with popularity. So your luxury goes up. So you're saying 1 or 2 million, and then what's probably the highest price of a home that traded in the last year? Is it a crazy
Sure.
number?
Yeah, that's if we back out kind of the farm property. I mean, there's a farm one that just traded at 45. There was a 40-acre piece in Belmead, which is the premier part of Nashville, that I think traded at 38. I'd say for just like a top of the line luxury home on a, air quotes, normal size estate lot would be right around 20 is where we cap out. We don't see that many transactions over 10 million in our market. I think it was just pulled the other day. I think it was 57 total between Davidson and Williamson County, over 10 million in the last 12 months. So it's a sliver of our market for sure.
Totally get it. Yeah. So, well, listen, it's a busy market, and so if you put an offer on one of these 1.3s, is it
Mhm.
multiple offers right now?
I mean, it really depends. I mean, obviously, that's typically the answer for stuff like this. If it's a good house and the agent has priced it on the bottom end of the range, absolutely, you'll get multiple offers, and someone will get it that first weekend. If it's something that's been sitting for 30 days, there's probably 5 to 10% in terms of flexibility on listing price. Obviously, every seller situation is different. But we see both. It seems like it's one or the other. It's either sells first weekend with multiple offers, or it takes 30 to 60 days to go.
Very interesting. Yeah. Well said. So, listen, you're busy. Real estate can be very busy. Lots of phone calls, 7 days a week. So, what do you do for fun? If you're a local in Nashville, where are you going? What are you doing?
Sure. So I'm probably the worst person to ask. I've got two little kids. I've got a 5 and a 6-year-old. So we get birthday parties and soccer games and running around and playing in the pool and the zoo and the museum and all that. The family stuff with young kids is typically what we do. But I mean, downtown, there's an infinite number of opportunities in terms of nightlife, live music, sports stuff. We're getting a brand new football stadium that's being built right now. So there's a ton of stuff going on from an entertainment perspective in Nashville. It feels like 24/7.
I lived in Manhattan for a long time, and when I lived there, you just didn't do anything that was in Manhattan. Like you didn't go to Times
Sure.
Square, you didn't go to the Statue of Liberty. Is that how Nashville is? Like, do you never go to Broadway, or do you go there like once a week?
We we go if we have friends in from out of state that want to go see it and experience it for a night, or if there's concerts downtown. Typically, they're downtown, either at the Ryman or at Bridgestone, the big arena downtown. So that's typically the only time we head down there for the most part.
Yeah, it totally makes sense. And there's a lot more to Nashville than just Broadway. There's such beautiful places to go and see and do. So listen, I was in Nashville, I don't know, 2 or 3 years ago, and let me tell you, I went to Kid Rock's bar. What a best place there. That was just the feeling of that place, unbelievable. So, being that you're a local, what's the one bar on Broadway that I got to go to next time I come back?
Oh man, I always tell people you got to go to Roberts and get a bologna sandwich from the bar in the very back on the first floor. It's kind of the old school Nashville. You can get a PBR and a bologna sandwich, kind of, and listen to live music. It's the one that's kind of preserved some of that old historic honky tonk that's still there. The new ones are great and loud and big and wide open, but I really like the old ones, like Roberts.
That's awesome. That is such a great piece of advice because those are the ones you want to go to, where
Yeah,
the local people are going to. Really interesting. And listen, you listen from North Carolina, you're in Nashville, you're in a competitive market. You've managed to stay in the business to be one of the top 25 realtors in Nashville. It's not easy to do. So if I said, why are you successful? What one thing would you attribute it to? What would it be?
the one piece of advice I always give to any agent that ever asks is pick a niche and learn it better than anybody else. I'm just a firm believer that depending on where you're at, 30 to 60 days, you can become the number one expert in just about any niche or area. I would never brand myself as like the Nashville realtor, but if you're looking for new construction homes in Green Hills, 12 South, Forest Hills, or Oak Hill, I've probably walked through every new construction home that's gone on. I've probably talked to every homeowner that's thinking about selling on a lot that could be a potential custom home build. That's just my world is within a 3 mile radius of my house, and I know it extremely, extremely well. I think going deep instead of going wide is really the big unlock for real estate agents.
Yeah, well said. Being focused and having a niche. And I like the part about you finding off-market properties. I thought that's brilliant.
Sure.
How valuable is that? So, well said. Really good advice. If you want to connect with Jason, you can go to grunertn.com. Also follow him on Instagram. He's at Jason Gruner, Nashville Realtor. All that stuff's going to be in the show notes. And listen, remember to hit the follow button to catch our next episode. And hey, Jason, thanks so much for jumping on today. We
Hey,
appreciate the information.
really appreciate you having me, Joe.